Old John of Gaunt? Time-honoured Lancaster, hast thou, according to thy oath and bond, brought hither Henry Hereford, thy bold son? Here, to make good the boisterous late appeal, which then our leisure would not let us hear, against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray?
I have, my liege.
Tell me, moreover, hast thou sounded him if he appeal the Duke on ancient malice? Or worthily, as a good subject should, on some known ground of treachery in him?
As near as I could sift him on that argument, on some apparent danger seen in him aimed at your highness. No inveterate malice.
Then call them to our presence. Face to face, and frowning brow to brow, ourselves will hear the accuser and the accused freely speak. High-stomached are they both, and full of ire. In rage, deaf as the sea, hasty as fire.
Many years of happy days befall my gracious sovereign, my most loving liege.
Each day still better others' happiness, until the heavens, envying earth's good hap, add an immortal title to your crown.
We thank you both, yet one but flatters us, as what appeareth by the cause you come, namely, to appeal each other of high treason. Cousin of Hereford, what dost thou object against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray?
First, heaven be the record to my speech. Tendering the precious safety of my prince, come I appellant to this princely presence. Now, Thomas Mowbray, do I turn to thee, and mark my greeting well, for what I speak, my body shall make good upon this earth, or my divine soul answer it in heaven. Thou art a traitor and a miscreant, too good to be so and too bad to live. Once more, the more to aggravate the note, with a foul traitor's name, stuff I thy throat, and wish, so please my sovereign, ere I move, what my tongue speaks, my right drawn sword may prove.
Let not my cold words here accuse my zeal. The blood is hot, that must be cooled for this. First, the fair reverence of your highness curbs me from giving reins and spurs to my free speech, which else would post until it had returned these terms of treason doubly down his throat. Setting aside his high blood's royalty, I do defy him, and I spit at him. Call him a slanderous coward and a villain, which to maintain I would allow him odds, and meet him were I tied to run afoot, even to the frozen ridges of the Alps. Meantime, let this defend my loyalty. By all my hopes, most falsely doth he lie.
Pale trembling coward, there! I throw my gage. If guilty dread hath left thee so much strength as to take up mine honour's pawn, then stoop.
I take it up! And by that sword I swear, which gently laid my knighthood on my shoulder, I'll answer thee in any knightly trial. And when I mount, alive may I not light, if I be traitor or unjustly fight.
What doth our cousin lay to Mowbray's charge? It must be great that can inherit us so much as of a thought of ill in him.
Look what I speak, my life shall prove it true. That all the treasons for these 18 years, complotted and contrived in this land, fetched from false Mowbray their first head and spring. Further, I say, and further will maintain, that he did plot the Duke of Gloucester's death, and sluiced out his innocent soul through streams of blood, which blood, like sacrificing Abel's, cries even from the tongueless caverns of the earth to me for justice and rough chastisement, and by the glorious worth of my descent, this arm shall do it, or this life be spent.
How high a pitch his resolution soars. Thomas of Norfolk, what sayest thou to this?
Oh, let my sovereign turn away his face, and bid his ear a little while be deaf, till I have told this slander of his blood, how God and good men hate so foul a liar.
Mowbray, impartial are our eyes and ears. Were he my brother, nay, my kingdom's heir, as he is but my father's brother's son? Now by my sceptre's awe I make a vow, such neighbour nearness to our sacred blood should nothing privilege him, nor partialize the unstooping firmness of my upright soul. He is our subject, Mowbray, so art thou. Free speech and fearless I to thee allow.
Then, Bolingbroke, as low as to thy heart, through the false passage of thy throat, thou liest for Gloucester's death. I slew him not, but to mine own disgrace neglected my sworn duty in that case. This is my fault. As for the rest appeal, it issues from the rancour of a villain, a recreant and most degenerate traitor, which in myself I boldly will defend, and interchangeably hold down my gage upon this overweening traitor's foot, to prove myself a loyal gentleman, even in the best blood chambered in his bosom. In haste whereof, most heartily I pray, your highness to assign our trial day.
Wrath-kindled gentlemen, be ruled by me. Let's purge this collar without letting blood. This we prescribe, though no physician. Deep malice makes too deep incision. Forget, forgive, conclude, and be agreed. Our doctors say this is no time to bleed. Good uncle, let this end where it begun. We'll calm the Duke of Norfolk, you your son.
To me, and make peace shall become my age. Throw down my son, the Duke of Norfolk's gage.
And Mowbray, throw down his.
When, Harry, when? Obedience bids, I should not bid again.
Mowbray, throw down, we bid, there is no boot.
Myself I throw, dread sovereign, at thy foot. My life thou shalt command, but not my shame. The one my duty owes, but my fair name, to dark dishonour's use thou shalt not have. I am disgraced, impeached and baffled here, pierced to the soul with slander's venom spear, the which no balm can cure, but his heart blood which breathed this poison.
Rage must be withstood. Give me his gage, lions make leopards tame.
Yea, but not change his spots. Take but my shame, and I resign my gage, my dear, dear lord. The purest treasure mortal times afford is spotless reputation. That away men are but gilded loam or painted clay. A jewel in a 10 times barred up chest is a bold spirit in a loyal breast. Mine honour is my life. Both grow in one. Take honour from me, and my life is done. Then, dear my liege, mine honour let me try. In that I live, and for that will I die.
Cousin, throw down your gage. Do you begin?
Oh, God defend my soul from such foul sin. Shall I seem crestfallen in my father's sight? Or with pale beggar fear impeach my height before this outdared dastard, ere my tongue shall wound mine honour with such feeble wrong, or sound so base a parle, my teeth shall tear the slavish motive of recanting fear, and spit it, bleeding in his high disgrace, where shame doth harbour, even in Mowbray's face.
We were not born to sue, but to command! Which since we cannot do to make you friends, be ready, as your lives shall answer it. At Coventry, upon St. Lambert's Day, there shall your swords and lances arbitrate to the swelling difference of your settled hate. Since we cannot atone you, we shall see justice design the victor's chivalry. Lord Marshal, command our officers at arms. Be ready to direct these home alarms.
Alas, the part I had in Gloucester's blood doth more solicit me than your exclaims to stir against the butchers of his life. But since correction lieth in those hands which made the fault that we cannot correct, put we our quarrel to the will of heaven, who when they see the hours ripe on earth will rain hot vengeance on offenders' heads.
Finds brotherhood in thee no sharper spur? Hath love in thine old blood no living fire? Edward's 7 sons, whereof thyself art one, were as 7 vials of his sacred blood, or 7 fair branches springing from one root. Some of those 7 are dried by nature's course. Some of those branches by the destinies cut. But Thomas, one vial full of Edward's sacred blood. One flourishing branch of his most royal root is cracked. And all the precious liquor spilt is hacked down. And his summer leaves all faded by envy's hand and murder's bloody axe. Ah, Gaunt, his blood was thine. That bed, that womb, that metal, that self-mould that fashioned thee made him a man. And though thou liv'st and breathest, yet art thou slain in him. Thou dost consent, in some large measure, to thy father's death, in that thou seest thy wretched brother die, that was the model of thy father's life. Call it not patience, Gaunt. It is despair. In suffering thus thy brother to be slaughtered, thou show'st the naked pathway to thy life, teaching stern murder how to butcher thee. That which in mean men we entitle patience is pale, cold cowardice in noble breasts. What shall I say to safeguard thine own life? The best way is to venge my Gloucester's death.
God's is the quarrel. For God's substitute, his deputy anointed in his sight, hath caused his death. The which if wrongfully let heaven revenge, for I may never lift an angry arm against his minister.
Where then, alas, may I complain myself?
To God, the widow's champion and defence.
Why then I will. Farewell, old Gaunt. Thou goest to Coventry, there to behold our cousin Hereford and fell Mowbray fight. Oh, sit my husband's wrongs on Hereford's spear, that it may enter butcher Mowbray's breast. Or if misfortune miss the first career, be Mowbray's sin so heavy in his bosom that they may break his foaming courser's back and throw the rider headlong in the lists. A caitiff recreant to our cousin Hereford. Farewell, old Gaunt. Thy sometime brother's wife, with her companion grief must end her life.
Sister, farewell. I must to Coventry. As much good stay with thee as go with me.
Yet one word more. Grief boundeth where it falls, not with the empty hollowness, but wait. I take my leave before I have begun, for sorrow ends not when it seemeth done. I pray you, commend me to my brother Edmund York. Blow, this is all.
Oh.
Nay, yet depart not so. So this be all, do not so quickly go. I shall remember more. Bid him, oh, what? Bid him with all good speed at Plashy visit me. Alack, and what shall good old York there see? But empty lodgings and unfurnished walls, unpeopled offices, untrodden stones. And what here there for welcome but my groans? Therefore commend me, bid it not come there to seek out sorrow, that dwells everywhere. Desolate, desolate, will I hence and die. The last leave of thee takes my weeping eye.
Is Harry Hereford armed?
Yea, my lord, at all points, and longs to enter in.
The Duke of Norfolk, spritefully and bold, stays but the summons of the appellant's trumpet.
Why then? The champions are prepared and stay for nothing but his majesty's approach.
Marshal, demand of yonder champion the cause of his arrival here in arms. Ask him his name and orderly proceed to swear him in the justice of his cause.
In God's name, and the king's, say who thou art, and why thou comest thus knightly clad in arms, against what man thou comest, and what's thy quarrel. Speak truly on thy knighthood and thine oath, as so defend thee heaven and thy valour.
My name is Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, who hither comes engaged by my oath, both to defend my loyalty and truth against the Duke of Hereford that appeals me, to prove him, in defending of myself, a traitor to my God, my king, and me, and as I truly fight. Defend me, heaven.
Marshal, ask yonder knight in arms both who he is and why he cometh hither thus plated in habiliments of war.
What is thy name? And wherefore comest thou hither before King Richard in his royal lists? Against whom comest thou, and what's thy quarrel? Speak like a true knight, so defend thee heaven.
Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby am I, who ready here do stand in arms to prove, by God's grace and my body's valour, in lists on Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, that he's a traitor, foul and dangerous, to God of heaven, King Richard, and to me. And as I truly fight, defend me, heaven.
On pain of death, no person be so bold or daring hardy as to enter the lists except the marshal and such officers appointed to direct these fair designs.
Lord Marshal, let me kiss my sovereign's hand and bow my knee before his majesty. For Mowbray and myself are like two men that vow a long and weary pilgrimage. Then let us take a ceremonious leave and loving farewell of our several friends.
The appellant, in all duty, greets your highness and craves to kiss your hand and take his leave.
We will descend and fold him in our arms. Cousin of Hereford, as thy cause is right, so be thy fortune in this royal fight. Farewell, my blood, which if today thou shed, lament we may, but not revenge thee dead.
Oh, let no noble eye profane a tear for me, if I be gored with Mowbray's spear. As confident As is the falcon's flight against a bird, do I with Mowbray fight. My loving lord, I take my leave of you. Of you, my noble cousin, Lord O'Merle. O thou, the earthly author of my blood, add proof unto mine armour with thy prayers, and with thy blessings steel my lance's point, that it may enter Mowbray's waxen coat, and furbish new the name of John o' Gaunt.
God, in thy good cause, make thee prosperous, be swift like lightning in the execution, and let thy blows, doubly redoubled, fall like amazing thunder on the cask of thy amazed pernicious enemy. Rouse up thy youthful blood, be valiant and live.
Mine innocence, and St. George to thrive.
However God or fortune cast my lot, there lives or dies true to King Richard's throne, a loyal, just, and upright gentleman. Never did captive with a freer heart cast off his chains of bondage and embrace his golden, uncontrolled enfranchisement, more than my dancing soul doth celebrate this feast of battle with mine adversary. Most mighty liege, and my companion peers, take from my mouth the wish of happy years. As gentle and as jocund as to jest go I to fight. Truth hath a quiet breast.
Farewell, my lord. Securely I espy virtue with valour couched in thine eye. Order the trial, marshal, and begin.
Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby, receive thy sword, and God defend thy right. Go bear the sword to Thomas, Duke of Norfolk. Sound trumpets! And set forward, combatants! The king has thrown his warder down!
Let them lay by their helmets and their swords, and both return back to their chairs again. Withdraw with us, and let the trumpets sound, whilst we return these dukes what we decree. And list what with our counsel we have done. For that our kingdom's earth should not be soiled with that dear blood which it hath fostered. And for our eyes do hate the sight of civil wounds ploughed up with neighbour's sword. And for we think the eagle-winged pride of sky-aspiring and ambitious thoughts, with rival-hating envy set on you, to wake our peace, which in our country's cradle draws the sweet infant breath of gentle sleep. Therefore, we banish you our territories, you, cousin Hereford, upon pain of death, till twice 5 summers have enriched our fields, shall not regreet our fair dominions, but tread the stranger paths of banishment.
Your will be done. This must my comfort be. That sun that warms you here shall shine on me, and those his golden beams to you here lent shall point on me, and gild my banishment.
Mowbray, for thee remains a heavier doom, which I with some unwillingness pronounce. The sly, slow hours shall not determinate the dateless limit of thy dear exile. The hopeless word of never to return breathe I against thee, upon pain of life.
A heavy sentence, my most sovereign liege. and all unlooked for from your highness' mouth. A dearer merit, not so deep a maim, have I deserved at your highness' hands. The language I have learned these 40 years, my native English now I must forego. And now my tongue's use is to me no more than an unstringed viol or a harp. Within my mouth you have enjailed my tongue, doubly portcullis with my teeth and lips, and dull, unfeeling, barren ignorance is made my jailer to attend on me. What is thy sentence then, but speechless death, that robs my tongue from breathing native breath?
It boots thee not to be compassionate. After our sentence, plaining comes too late.
Then thus I turn me from my country's light, to dwell in solemn shades of endless night.
Return again, and take an oath with thee. Lay on our royal sword your banished hands. Swear by the duty that you owe to God to keep the oath that we administer. You never shall, so help you truth and God, embrace each other's love in banishment. Nor never by advised purpose meet to plot, contrive, or complot any ill against us, our state, our subjects, or our land.
I swear.
And I, to keep all this.
Norfolk, so far as to mine enemy. By this time, had the king permitted us, one of our souls had wandered in the air. Confess thy treasons ere thou fly this realm. Since thou hast far to go, bear not along the clogging burden of a guilty soul.
No, Bolingbroke, if ever I were traitor, my name be blotted from the book of life, and I from heaven banished as from hence. But what thou art, God, thou and I do know. And all too soon I fear the king shall rue. Farewell, my liege. Now no way can I stray, save back to England. All the world's my way.
Uncle, even in the glasses of thine eyes I see thy grieved heart. Thy sad aspect hath from the number of his banished years plucked 4 away. 6 frozen winters spent, return with welcome, home from banishment.
How long a time lies in one little word? 4 lagging winters and 4 wanton springs end in a word. Such is the breath of kings.
I thank my liege that in regard of me he shortens 4 years of my son's exile. A little vantage shall I reap thereby, that ere the 6 years that he hath to spend can change their moons and bring their times about, my oil-dried lamp and time-bewasted light shall be extinct with age and endless night.
Why, uncle, thou hast many years to live.
But not a minute, king, that thou canst give. Shorten my days thou canst with sudden sorrow, and pluck nights from me, but not lend a morrow.
Thy son is banished upon good advice, where to thy tongue a party verdict gave. Why, at our justice, seemst thou then to lower?
Things sweet to taste prove in digestion sour. You urge me as a judge, but I had rather you would have bid me argue like a father. Oh! Had he been a stranger, not my child, to smooth his fault, I should have been more mild.
Cousin, farewell, and uncle bid him so. 6 years we banish him, and he shall go.
Cousin, farewell. What presence must not know from where you do remain, let papers show.
My lord, no leave take I, for I will ride as far as land will let me by your side.
Ooh. To what purpose dost thou hoard thy words? and thou returnest no greeting to thy friends.
I have too few to take my leave of you.
Oh, what a 6 winters. They're quickly gone.
To men enjoy, but grief makes 1 hour 10.
Call it a travel that thou takes for pleasure.
My heart will sigh when I miscall it so, which finds it an enforced
The
pilgrimage.
sullen passage of thy weary steps esteem as foil wherein thou art to set the precious jewel of thy home return.
Nay, rather, every tedious stride I make will but remember me what a deal of world I wander from the jewels that I love. Must I not serve a long apprenticehood to foreign passages, and in the end, having my freedom, boast of nothing else but that I was a journeyman to grief?
All places that the eye of heaven visits are to a wise man ports and happy havens. Teach thy necessity to reason thus. There is no virtue like necessity. Think not the king did banish thee, but thou the king. Woe doth the heavier sit where it perceives it is but faintly born. Go, say I sent thee forth to purchase honour, and not the king exiled thee. Or suppose devouring pestilence hangs in our air, and thou art flying to a fresher clime. Look, what thy soul holds dear, imagine it to lie that way thou goest, not whence thou comest. Suppose the singing birds musicians, the grass whereon thou treadst the present strewed, the flowers fair ladies, and thy steps no more than a delightful measure or a dance. The gnarling sorrow hath less power to bite the man that mocks at it and sets it light.
Oh, who can hold a fire in his hand by thinking on the frosty Caucasus? Or cloy the hungry edge of appetite by bare imagination of a feast? Or wallow naked in December snow by thinking on fantastic summer's heat? Oh no, the apprehension of the good gives but the greater feeling to the worse.
Come, my son, I'll bring thee on thy way. Had I thy youth and cause, I would not stay.
Then England's ground. Farewell. Sweet soil, adieu. My mother and my nurse, which bears me yet. Where'er I wander, boast of this I can. Though banished, yet a true-born Englishman.
We did observe. Cousin Earl. How far brought you High Hereford on his way?
I brought High Hereford, if you call him so, but to the next highway, and there I left him.
And say, what store of parting tears were shed?
Faith, none for me, except the northeast wind, which then blew bitterly against our face, awaked the sleepy room, and so by chance did grace our hollow parting with a tear.
What said our cousin when you parted with him?
Farewell. Marry, would the word farewell have lengthened hours and added years to his short banishment, he should have had a volume of farewells, but since it would not, he had none of me.
He is our cousin. Cousin. But 'tis doubt when time shall call him home from banishment, whether our kinsman come to see his friends. Ourself and Bushy, Bagot here and Green, observed his courtship to the common people. How he did seem to dive into their hearts with humble and familiar courtesy. Off goes his bonnet to an oyster wench. A brace of draymen bid God speed him well, and had the tribute of his supple knee, with thanks, my countrymen, my loving friends, as were our England in reversion his, and he, our subjects' next degree in hope.
Well, he is gone, and with him go these thoughts. Now for the rebels which stand out in Ireland. Expedient manage must be made, my liege. Ere further leisure yield them further means for their advantage and your highness' loss.
We will, ourself in person to this war. And for our coffers, with too great a court and liberal largesse are grown somewhat light, we are enforced to farm our royal realm, the revenues whereof shall furnish us for our affairs in hand. If that comes short, our substitutes at home shall have blank charters, whereto, when they shall know what men are rich, they shall subscribe them for large sums of gold. For we will make for Ireland presently. Bushy, what news?
Old John of Gaunt is very sick, my lord, suddenly taken, and hath sent post-haste to entreat your majesty to visit him.
Where lies he?
At Ely House.
Now, put it God in his physician's mind to help him to his grave immediately. The linings of his coffers shall make coats to deck our soldiers for these Irish wars. Come, gentlemen, let's all go visit him. Pray God we may make haste and come too late.
Will the king come? Let me breathe my last in wholesome counsel to his unstayed youth.
Vex not yourself, nor strive not with your breath, for all in vain comes counsel to his ear.
Oh, but they say the tongues of dying men enforce attention like deep harmony. More are men's ends marked than their lives before. The setting sun and music at the close, as the last taste of sweets is sweetest last, writ in remembrance more than things long past. Though Richard my life's counsel would not hear, my death's sad tale may yet undeaf his ear.
No, it is stopped with other flattering sounds, lascivious meters, to whose venom sound the open ear of youth doth always listen. Report of fashions in proud Italy, whose manners still our tardy apish nation limps after in base imitation. Where doth the world thrust forth of vanity? So it be new, there's no respect how vile, that is not quickly buzzed into his ears. Direct not him whose way himself will choose. 'Tis breath thou lackst, and that breath wilt thou lose.
Methinks I am a prophet, new inspired, and thus expiring do foretell of him. His rash, fierce blaze of riot cannot last. For violent fires soon burn out themselves. Small showers last long, but sudden storms are short. Light vanity, insatiate cormorant, consuming means, soon preys upon itself. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall or as a moat defensive to a house against the envy of less happier lands. This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings, feared by their breed and famous for their birth, renowned for their deeds as far from home for Christian service and true chivalry as is the sepulchre in stubborn jury of the world's ransom, blessed Mary's Son. This land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land, dear for a reputation through the world, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it. Like to a tenement or a pelting farm. England, bound in with a triumphant sea whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame, with inky blots and rotten parchment bonds, that England, and was wont to conquer others, hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Oh, would the scandal vanish with my life? How happy then were my ensuing death!
The king is come. Deal mildly with his youth. The young hot colt's been raged to rage the more.
How fares our noble Uncle Lancaster?
What comfort, man? How is't with aged Gaunt?
How that name befits my composition. Old Gaunt indeed, and Gaunt in being old. Within me grief hath kept a tedious fast, and who abstains from meat that is not gaunt? For sleeping England long time have I watched. Watching breeds leanness. Leanness is all gaunt. The pleasure that some fathers feed upon is my strict fast. I mean my children's looks. Gaunt am I for the grave, gaunt as a grave, whose hollow womb inherits naught but bones.
And sick men play so nicely with their names.
Oh, since thou dost seek to kill my name in me, I mock my name, great king, to flatter thee.
Should dying men flatter those that live?
No, no, men living flatter those that die.
Thou, now a dying, say'st thou flatterest me.
Oh, no. Thou diest, though I the sicker be.
I am in health, I breathe, I see thee ill.
Now he that made me knows I see thee ill. Thy deathbed is no lesser than thy land, wherein thou liest in reputation sick, and thou, too careless patient as thou art, commits thy anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, whose compass is no bigger than thy head. Thy grandsire with a prophet's eye, seeing how his son's son should destroy his sons, from forth thy reach he would have laid thy shame, deposing thee before thou wert possessed. My cousin, wert thou regent of the world, it were a shame to let this land by lease. Landlord of England, art thou now not king? Thy state of law is bond-slave to the law, and thou...
Thou, a lunatic lean-witted fool, presuming on an ague's privilege, darest with thy frozen admonition make pale our cheek, chasing the royal blood with fury from his native residence. Now, by my seats, right royal majesty, wert thou not brother to great Edward's son? This tongue that runs so roundly in thy head should run thy head from thy unreverent shoulders.
Spare me not, my brother Edward's son, that blood already, like the pelican, thou hast tapped out and drunkenly caroused. My brother Gloucester, plain, well-meaning soul, may be a precedent and witness good that thou respect'st not spilling Edward's blood. Live in thy shame, and die not shame with thee. These words hereafter thy tormentors be. Convey me to my bed, then to my grave. Love they to live, that love and honour have.
And let them die that age and sullens have. For both hast thou, and both become the grave.
I do beseech your majesty impute his words to wayward sickliness and age in him. He loves you on my life, and holds you dear as Harry Duke of Hereford, were he here.
Right, you say true. As Hereford's love, so his. As theirs, so mine, and all be as it is.
My liege, old Gaunt commends him to your majesty.
What says he?
Nay, nothing, all is said. His tongue is now a stringless instrument. Words, life, and all old Lancaster hath spent.
Be York the next that must be bankrupt so. No death be poor, it ends a mortal woe.
The ripest fruit first falls, and so doth he. His time is spent. Our pilgrimage must be. So much for that. Now, For our Irish wars, we must supplant those rough, rug-headed kerns, and for these great affairs do ask some charge. Towards our assistance we do cease to us the plate, coin, revenues, and movables, whereof our uncle Gaunt did stand possessed.
How long shall I be patient? Oh, how long shall tender duty make me suffer wrong? Not Gloucester's death, nor Hereford's banishment, nor Gaunt's rebukes, nor England's private wrongs have ever made me sour my patient cheek, or bend one wrinkle on my sovereign's face. I am the last of noble Edward's sons, of whom thy father, Prince of Wales, was first. His face thou hast, for even so looked he. But when he frowned, it was against the French, and not against his friends. His noble hand did win what he did spend, and spent not that which his triumphant father's hand had won. His hands were guilty of no kindred's blood, but bloody with the enemies of his kin. Oh, Richard, York is too far gone with grief, or else he never would compare between...
Why, uncle, what's the matter?
Oh, my liege, pardon me if you will. If not, I please not to be pardoned, am content with all. Seek you to seize and gripe into your hands the royalties and rights of banished Hereford. Is not Gaunt dead? And doth not Hereford live? Was not Gaunt just, and is not Harry true? Did not the one deserve to have an heir? Is not his heir a well-deserving son? Take Hereford's rights away, and take from time his charters and his customary rights. Let not tomorrow then ensue today. Be not thyself, for how art thou a king but my fair sequence and succession? Now, for God, God forbid I say true, if you do wrongfully seize Hereford's rights, you pluck 1,000 dangers on your head, you lose 1,000 well-disposed hearts, and prick my tender patience to those thoughts which honour and allegiance cannot think.
Think what you will. We seize into our hands his plate, his goods, his money, and his lands.
I'll not be by the while. My liege, farewell. What will ensue hereof, as none can tell, but by bad courses may be understood that their events can never fall out good.
Bushy, to the Earl of Wiltshire straight, bid him repair to us to Ely House to see this business. Tomorrow next we will for Ireland, and 'tis time, I trow. And we create, in absence of ourself, our Uncle York, Lord Governor of England. For he is just, and always loved us well. Come on, our queen, tomorrow must we part. Be merry, for our time of stay is short.
Well, lords, the Duke of Lancaster is dead.
And living too, for now his son is Duke.
Barely in title, not in revenue. Richly in both, if justice had her right.
My heart is great, but it must break with silence.
Nay, speak thy mind.
Tends that thou wouldst speak to the Duke of Hereford. If it be so, out with it boldly, man. Quick is mine ear to hear of good towards him.
No good at all that I can do for him, unless you'd call it good to pity him.
Now, for God, 'tis shame such wrongs are born in him. A royal prince, and many more of noble blood in this declining land. The king is not himself, but basely led by flatterers, and what they will inform, merely in hate, gainst any of us all, that will the king severely prosecute gainst us, our lives, our children, and our heirs.
The commons hath he pilled with grievous taxes, and quite lost their hearts. The nobles hath he fined for ancient quarrels, and quite lost their hearts.
And daily new exactions are devised, but what a God's name doth become of that?
Wars hath not wasted it, for war he hath not. More hath he spent in peace than they in wars.
The king's grown bankrupt like a broken man.
Reproach and dissolution hangeth over him.
He hath not money for these Irish wars, but by the robbing of the banished duke.
His noble kinsman, most degenerate king. But lords, we hear this fearful tempest sing, yet seek no shelter to avoid the storm.
We see the very wreck that we must suffer, and unavoided is the danger now.
Not so.
Even through the hollow eyes of death I spy life peering, but I dare not say how near the tidings of our comfort is.
Nay, let us share thy thoughts as thou dost ours.
We three are but thyself, and speaking so, thy words are but as thoughts. Therefore be bold.
Then thus. I have received intelligence that Harry, Duke of Hereford, Reynold, Lord Cobham, his brother Archbishop, late of Canterbury, Sir Thomas Erpingham, and Francis Coint, with 8 tall ships, 3,000 men of war, are making hither with all due expediency, and shortly mean to touch our northern shore. Now, if then we shall shake off our slavish yoke, imp out our drooping country's broken wing, redeem from broken pawn the blemished crown, wipe off the dust that hides our scepter's guilt, and make high majesty look like itself. Away with me in post to Ravenspur.
To horse. To horse! Urge stouts to them that fear!
Hold out my horse, and I will first be there!
Madam, your Majesty is too much sad. You promised, when you parted with the king, to lay aside life-harming heaviness and to entertain a cheerful disposition.
To please the king, I did. To please myself, I cannot do it. Yet, I know no cause why I should welcome such a guest as grief, save bidding farewell to so sweet a guest as my sweet Richard. Yet again, methinks some unborn sorrow, ripe in fortune's womb, is coming towards me, and my inward soul with nothing trembles. At something it grieves, more than with parting from my lord the king.
Each substance of a grief hath 20 shadows, which shows like grief itself, but is not so. For sorrow's eye, glazed with blinding tears, divides one thing entire to many objects, like perspectives, which, rightly gazed upon, show nothing but confusion, eyed awry, distinguished forms. Huh? Oh, bugger! So your sweet majesty, looking awry upon your lord's departure, finds shapes of grief, more than himself to wail, which, looked on as it is naught but the shadows of what it is not. So thrice, gracious queen, more than your lord's departure, weep not, more's not seen. Or if it be, 'tis with false sorrow's eye, which for things true weeps things imaginary.
It may be so, but yet my inward soul persuades me it is otherwise, howe'er it be. I cannot but be sad, but what it is I cannot name, 'tis nameless woe, I wot.
God save your majesty, and well met, gentlemen. I hope the king is not yet shipped for Ireland.
Why hopest thou so? 'Tis better hope he is, for his designs crave haste, his haste good hope.
The banished Bolingbroke repeals himself.
Repeals himself?
And with uplifted arms is safe arrived at Ravenspur.
Now God in heaven forbid.
Oh, madam, 'tis too true. And that is worse. The Lord Northumberland, his son, young Henry Percy, the lords of Ross, Beaumont, and Willoughby, with all their powerful friends, are fled to him.
Why have you not proclaimed Northumberland and the rest of the revolted faction traitors?
We have, whereupon the Earl of Worcester hath broke his staff and fled to Bolingbroke.
So, Green, thou art the midwife of my woe, Bolingbroke my sorrow's dismal heir. Now hath my soul brought forth her prodigy, and I, a gasping new delivered mother, have woe to woe, sorrow to sorrow joined.
Despair not, madam.
Who shall hinder me? I will despair, and be at enmity with cousining hope. He is a flatterer, a parasite, a keeper back of death, who gently would dissolve the bands of life, which false hope lingers in extremity.
Here comes the Duke of York.
With signs of war about his aged neck. Uncle, for God's sake, speak comfortable words.
Comfort's in heaven, and we are on the earth. where nothing lives but crosses, care, and grief. Your husband he is gone to save far off, while others come to make him lose at home. Here am I left to underprop his land, who weak with age cannot support myself.
My lord, your son has gone to Ireland.
Oh, Merle! Why, so go all which way it will. The nobles they are fled, the commons they are cold, and will I fear revolt on Hereford's side? Sirrah, get thee to Plashy to my sister Gloucester, bid her send me presently £1,000. Hold, take my ring.
My lord, I had forgot to tell your lordship. Today as I came by, I called it there. But I shall grieve you to report the rest.
What is new?
An hour before I came, the Duchess died.
God for his mercy. What a tide of woes comes rushing on this woeful land at once. I know not what to do. Oh, would to God the king had cut off my head with my brother Gloucester's. What are there no post dispatch for Ireland? How shall we do for money for these wars? Come, sister. Cousin, I would say, pray pardon me. Go, fellow, get thee home, provide some carts, and bring away the armour that is there. Gentlemen, will you go muster men? If I know how or which way to order these affairs thus disorderly thrust into my hands, never believe me. Both are my kinsmen. The one is my sovereign, the other again is my kinsman, whom the king hath wronged. Well, somewhat we must do. Come, cousin, I'll dispose of you. Oh, I should to Plashy too, but time will not permit. All is uneven. Everything is left at 6 and 7.
For us to levy power proportionable to the enemy is all impossible.
Besides, our nearness to the king in love is near the hate of those who love not the king.
And that's the wavering commons. For their love lies in their purses, and whoso empties them by so much fills their hearts with deadly hate.
Wherein the king stands generally condemned.
If judgment lie in them, then so do we, because we have been ever near the king.
Well, I will for refuge, straight to Bristol Castle.
Oh, thither will I with you. For little office shall the hateful commons perform for us, except like curs to tear us all in pieces. Will you go along with us?
No. I will to Ireland, to his majesty. Farewell. If heart's presages be not vain, we three here part, that ne'er shall meet again.
Farewell at once, for all, and ever. Well, we may meet again.
I fear me. Never!
How far is it, my lord, to Berkeley now?
Oh, believe me, noble lord, I'm a stranger here in Gloucestershire. These high, wild hills and rough, uneven ways draws out our miles and makes them wearisome. And yet our fair discourse hath been as sugar, making the hard way sweet and delectable.
Of much less value is my company than your good words. But who comes here?
Here come the lords of Ross and Willoughby, bloody with spurring, fiery red with haste.
Welcome, my lords! I wot your love pursues a banished traitor. All my treasury is yet but unfelt thanks, which, more enriched, shall be your love and labour's recompense.
Your presence makes us rich, most noble lord.
And far surmounts our labour to attain it.
Ever more thanks, the exchequer of the poor, which, till my infant fortune comes to years, stands for my bounty. But who comes here?
It is my son, young Harry Percy, sent from my brother Worcester, whensoever. Harry, how fares your uncle?
He hath forsook the court, broken his staff of office, and dispersed the household of the king.
What was his reason?
Because your lordship was proclaimed traitor. But he, my lord, is gone to Ravenspur to offer service to the Duke of Hereford. Sent me over by Berkeley to discover what power the Duke of York had levied there.
Have you forgot the Duke of Hereford, boy?
No, my good lord. For that is not forgot which ne'er I did remember. To my knowledge, I never in my life did look on him.
Well, then learn to know him now. This is the Duke.
My gracious lord, I tender you my service, such as it is, being tender, raw, and young, which elder days shall ripen and confirm to more approved service and desert.
I thank thee, gentle Percy, and be sure I count myself in nothing else so happy as in a soul remembering my good friends. My heart this covenant makes, my hand thus seals it.
How far is it to Berkeley, and what stir keeps good old York there with his men of war?
There stands the castle by yon tuft of trees, manned with 300 men, as I have heard, and in it are the lords of York, Berkeley, and Seymour, none else of name and noble estimate.
My noble uncle.
Show me thy humble heart and not thy knee, whose duty is deceivable and false.
My gracious uncle.
Chat, grace me no grace, nor uncle me no uncle. I am no traitor's uncle, and that word grace in an ungracious mouth is but profane. Why have these banished and forbidden legs dared once to touch a dust of England's ground? But then more, why? Why have they dared to march so many miles upon her peaceful bosom, frighting her pale-faced villagers with war and ostentation of despised arms? Comest thou because the anointed king is hence? Why, foolish boy, the king is left behind, and in my loyal bosom lies his power.
My gracious uncle, let me know my fault, on what condition stands it, and wherein.
Even in condition of the worst degree, in gross rebellion and detested treason. Thou art a banished man, and here art come before the expiration of thy time in braving arms against thy sovereign.
As I was banished Hereford, but as I come for Lancaster. And noble uncle, I beseech your grace, look on my wrongs with an indifferent eye. You are my father, for methinks in you I see old Gaunt alive. Oh then, my father, will you permit that I shall stand condemned a wandering vagabond? My rights and royalties plucked from my arms perforce and given away to upstart unthrifts? Wherefore was I born? If that my cousin king be king in England, it must be granted I am Duke of Lancaster. You have a son, O'Merle, my noble kinsman. Had you first died, and he been thus trod down, he should have found his uncle Gaunt a father to rouse his wrongs and chase them to the bay. I am denied to sue my livery here. My father's goods are all distrained and sold. What would you have me do? I am a subject, and I challenge law. Attorneys are denied me, and therefore, personally, I lay my claim to my inheritance of free descent.
Now, the noble Duke hath been too much abused.
It stands your grace upon to do him right.
My lords of England, let me tell you this. I have had feeling of my cousin's wrongs, and laboured all I could to do him right. But in this kind to come, in braving arms, be his own carver and cut out his way, to find out right with wrongs, it may not be. And you that do abet him in this kind, cherish rebellion and are rebels all.
The noble Duke hath sworn his coming is but for his own, and for the right of that we all have strongly sworn to give him aid. And let him ne'er see joy that breaks that oath.
Well, I see the issue of these arms. I cannot mend it, I must needs confess, because my power is weak and all ill left. But if I could, by him that gave me life, I would attach you all and make you stoop unto the sovereign mercy of the king. But since I cannot, be it known to you, I do remain as neuter. So, fare you well. Unless you please to enter in the castle and there repose you for this night.
An offer, uncle, that we will accept.
Aye.
But we must win your grace to go with us to Bristol Castle, which they say is held by Bushy Bagot and their complices, the caterpillars of the Commonwealth, which I have sworn to weed and pluck away.
It may be I will go with you, but yet I'll pause, for I am loath to break our country's laws. Nor friends, nor foes to me welcome you are. Things past redress, and now with me past care.
My Lord of Salisbury, we have stayed 10 days and hardly kept our countrymen together, and yet we hear no tidings from the king. Therefore we will disperse ourselves. Farewell.
Stay yet another day, thou trusty Welshman. The king reposeth all his confidence in thee.
'Tis thought the king is dead. We will not stay. The bay trees in our country all are withered, and meteors fright the fixed stars of heaven. The pale-faced moon looks bloody on the earth, and lean-looked prophets whisper fearful change. Rich men look sad, and ruffians dance and leap. The one in fear to lose what they enjoy, the other to enjoy by rage and war. These signs forerun the death or fall of kings. Farewell! Our countrymen are gone and fled, as well assured Richard the king is dead.
Richard! With eyes of heavy mind, I see thy glory, like a shooting star, fall to the base earth from the firmament. Thy sun sets weeping in the lowly west, witnessing storms to come, woe and unrest. Thy friends are fled to wait upon thy foes, and crossly to thy good all fortune goes.
Bring forth these men. Bushy and green. I will not vex your souls, since presently your souls must part your bodies, with too much urging your pernicious lives, for 'twere no charity. Yet to wash your blood from off my hands, here in the view of men, I will unfold some causes of your deaths. You have misled a prince, a royal king. You have, in manner with your sinful hours, made a divorce betwixt his queen and him, broke the possession of a royal bed, and stained the beauty of a fair queen's cheeks with tears drawn from her eyes with your foul wrongs. Myself a prince, by fortune of my birth, near to the king in blood, and near in love till you did make him misinterpret me, have stooped my neck under your injuries, and sighed my English breath in foreign clouds, eating the bitter bread of banishment, whilst you have fed upon my signories, from my own windows torn my household coat, raged out my empress, leaving me no sign, save men's opinions of my living blood, to show the world I am a gentleman. This and much more than twice all this, condemns you to the death. See them delivered over to execution in the hand of death.
More welcome, it's a stroke of death to me than Bolingbroke to England!
My comfort is that heaven will take our souls and plague injustice on the pains of hell!
My Lord Northumberland, see them dispatched. Uncle, you say the Queen is at your house. For God's sake, fairly let her be entreated. Tell her I sent to her my kind commends. Take special care my greetings be delivered.
A gentleman of mine I have dispatched with letters of your love to her at large.
Thanks, gentle uncle. Come, lords, away. A while to work, and after, holiday.
Harlech Castle, call you this at hand?
Yea, my lord. How brooks your grace the air after your late tossing on the breaking seas?
Needs must I like it well. I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand, though rebels wound thee with their horses' hoofs. As a long-parted mother with her child plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting us weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favours with my royal hands. Feed not thy sovereign's foes, my gentle earth.
nor with thy sweets comfort his ravenous sense, but let thy spiders that suck up thy venom and heavy-gated toads lie in their way, doing annoyance to the treacherous feet which with usurping steps do trample thee. Yield stinging nettles to mine enemies, and when they from my bosom pluck a flower, guard it, I pray thee, with a lurking adder.
Mock not. My senseless conjuration, lords, this earth shall have a feeling, and these stones prove armed soldiers ere her native king shall falter under foul rebellion's arms.
Fear not, my lord, that power that made you king hath power to keep you king in spite of all.
He means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst Bolingbroke, through our security, grows strong and great in substance and in friends.
Discomfortable cousin. Knowst thou not that when the searching eye of heaven is hid behind the globe and lights the lower world, then thieves and robbers range abroad unseen in murders and in outrage boldly here, but when from under this terrestrial ball he fires the proud tops of the eastern pine and darts his light through every guilty hole, then murders, treasons, and detested sins, the cloak of night being plucked from off their back, stand bare and naked, trembling at themselves. So, when this thief, this traitor Bolingbroke, who all this time hath revelled in the night, shall see us rising in our throne the east, his treasons will sit blushing in his face, not able to endure the sight of day, but self-affrighted tremble at his sin. Not all the water in the rough, rude sea can wash the balm off from an anointed king. The breath of worldly men cannot depose the deputy elected by the Lord. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed to lift shrewd steel against our golden crown, God, for his Richard, hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. Then if angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. Welcome, my lord. How far off lies your power?
No near, no farther off, my gracious lord, than this weak arm. Discomfort guides my tongue, and bids me speak of nothing but despair. Oh, called back yesterday, bid time return, and thou shalt have 12,000 fighting men. Today, unhappy day, too late, o'erthrows thy joys, friends, fortunes, and thy state. For all the Welshmen, hearing thou wert dead, are gone to Bolingbroke, dispersed and fled.
Comfort, my liege, why looks your grace so pale?
But now the blood of 20,000 men did triumph in my face, and they are fled. Until so much blood thither come again, have I not reason to look pale and dead? All souls that would be safe fly from my side, for time hath set a blot upon my pride.
Comfort, my liege, remember who you are.
I had forgot myself. Am I not king? Awake, thou sluggard majesty, thou sleepst. Is not the king's name 40,000 names? Arm my name. A puny subject strikes. At thy great glory, look not to the ground. Ye favourites of a king, are we not high? High be our thoughts. I know my uncle York hath power enough to serve our turn. But who comes here?
More health and happiness betide my liege than can my care-tuned tongue deliver him.
Mine ear is open and my heart prepared. The worst is worldly loss thou canst unfold. Say, is my kingdom lost? Why, 'twas my care. What loss is it to be rid of care? Strives Bolingbroke to be as great as we? Greater he shall not be. If he serve God, we'll serve him too and be his fellow. So, revolt our subjects that we cannot mend. They break their faith to God as well as us. Cry, woe, destruction, ruin, and decay. The worst is death, and death will have his day.
Glad am I that your highness is so armed to bear the tidings of calamity. Like an unseasonable stormy day, which makes the silver rivers drown their shores, as if the world were all dissolved to tears. So high above his limit swells the rage of Bolingbroke, covering your fearful land with hard, bright steel, and hearts harder than steel. Whitebeards have armed their thin and hairless scalps against thy majesty, and boys with women's voices strive to speak
big and clap their female joints in stiff unweedy arms against thy crown. Both young and old rebel, and all goes worse than I have power to tell.
Too well. Too well. Thou tell'st a tale so ill. Where is the Earl of Wiltshire? Where is Bagot? What is become of Bushy? Where is Green? That they have let the dangerous enemy measure our confines with such peaceful steps. If we prevail, their heads shall pay for it. I warrant they have made peace with Bolingbroke.
Peace have they made with him indeed,
villains!
my lord!
Vipers! Damned without redemption, dogs, easily won to fall, not any man. Snakes, in my heart blood warmed, that sting my heart. 3 Judases, each one thrice worse than Judas. Would they make peace? Terrible hell, make war upon their spotted souls for this offence.
Sweet love, I see, changing his property, turns to the sourest and most deadly hate. Again uncurse their souls. Their peace is made with heads and not with hands. Those whom you curse have felt the worst of death's destroying wound, and lie full low, graved in the hollow ground.
Bushy Green and the Earl of Wiltshire dead?
Yea, all of them at Bristol lost their heads.
Where is my father, the Duke, with his power?
No matter where. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so. For what can we bequeath, save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, and all are Bolingbroke's. And nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground. And tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarchize, be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass, impregnable. And humour thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle walls, and farewell, king. Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty. For you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you. Feel want. Taste grief. Need friends. Subjected thus. How can you say to me, I am a king?
My lord, wise men ne'er wail their present woes, but presently prevent the ways to wail. Fear and be slain. No worse can come to fight, and fight and die is death destroying death, while fearing dying pays death servile breath.
My father has a power. Enquire of him, and learn to make a body of a limb.
Thou chidest me well. Proud Bolingbroke, I come to change blows with thee for thy day of doom. This ague fit of fear is overblown. An easy task it is to win our own. Say, Scroop, while I's our uncle with his power. Speak sweetly, man, although thy looks be sour.
Men judge by the complexion of the sky, the state and inclination of the day. So may you by my dull and heavy eye, my tongue hath but a heavier tale to say. Your uncle York is joined with Bolingbroke, and all your northern castles yielded up, and all your southern gentlemen in arms upon his faction.
Thou hast said enough. Beshrew thee, cousin, which didst lead me forth of that sweet way I was in to despair. What say you now? What comfort have we now? By heaven, I'll hate him everlastingly that bids me be of comfort any more. Go to Flint Castle. There I'll pine away. A king, woe's slave, shall kingly woe obey. That power I have, discharge, and let him go, to ear the land that hath some hope to grow. For I have none. Let no man speak again to alter this, for counsel is but vain.
My liege,
He
one
does me
word.
double wrong, that wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my followers. Let them hence away. From Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day.
So that by this intelligence we learn the Welshmen are dispersed, and Salisbury is gone to meet the king.
The news is fair. Richard, not far from hence, hath hid his head.
It would beseem the Lord Northumberland to say King Richard. Alack the heavy day when such a sacred king should hide his head.
Your grace mistakes. Only to be brief, left I his title out.
The time hath been, would you have been so brief with him, he would have been so brief with you to shorten you, for taking so the head, your whole head's length.
Mistake not, uncle, further than you should.
Take not, good cousin, further than you should, lest you mistake. The heavens are o'er your head.
I know it, uncle, and oppose not myself against their will. Who comes here? Welcome, Harry. What, will not this castle yield?
The castle royally is manned, my lord, against thy entrance.
Royally? Why, it contains no king.
Yes, my good lord, it doth contain a king. King Richard lies within the limits of yon Lyman stone, and with him the Lord O'Merle, Lord Salisbury, Sir Stephen Scroop, besides a clergyman of holy reverence, who I cannot learn.
Oh, belike it is the Bishop of Carlisle.
Noble lord, go to the rude ribs of that ancient castle. Through brazen trumpet, send the breath of Parl into his ruined ears, and thus deliver. Henry Bolingbroke, upon his knees, doth kiss King Richard's hand, and sends allegiance and true faith of heart to his most royal person, hither come even at his feet, to lay my arms and power, provided that my banishment repealed, and lands restored again be freely granted. If not, I'll use the advantage of my power, and lay the summer's dust with showers of blood rain from the wounds of slaughtered Englishmen.
Oh!
The which, how far off from the mind of Bolingbroke it is, such crimson tempest should bedrench the fresh green lap of fair King Richard's land. My stooping duty tenderly shall show. Methinks King Richard and myself should meet with no less terror than the elements of fire and water when their thundering smoke at meeting tears the cloudy cheeks of heaven. Be he the fire, I'll be the yielding water. The rage be his, while on the earth I reign. My waters on the earth, and not on him. as doth the blushing, discontented sun from out the fiery portal of the east, when he perceives the envious clouds are bent to dim his glory, and to stain the track of his bright passage to the Occident.
Yet looks he like a king. Behold his eye, as bright as is the eagle's, lightens forth controlling majesty. Alack, alack for woe, that any harm should stain so fair a show.
We are amazed, and thus long have we stood to watch the fearful bending of thy knee, because we thought ourselves thy lawful king, and if we be, how dare thy joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence? If we be not, show us the hand of God that hath dismissed us from our stewardship. For well we know, no hand of blood and bone can gripe the sacred handle of our sceptre, unless he do profane, steal, or usurp. And though you think that all as you have done have torn their souls by turning them from us, and we are barren and bereft of friends, yet no, my master, God omnipotent, is mustering in his clouds on our behalf armies of pestilence, and they shall strike your children yet unborn and unbegot, that lift your vassal hands against our heads, and threat the glory of our precious crown. Tell Bolingbroke, for yond methinks he stands, that every stride he makes upon our land is dangerous treason. He is come to ope the purple testament of bleeding war. But ere the crown he looks for live in peace, 10,000 bloody crowns of mothers' sons shall ill become the flower of England's face, change the complexion of her maid pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her pastures grass with faithful English blood.
The King of Heaven forbid our Lord the King should so with civil and uncivil arms be rushed upon. Thy thrice noble cousin Harry Bolingbroke doth humbly kiss thy hand, and by the honourable tomb he swears that stands upon your royal grandsire's bones, his coming hither hath no further scope than for his lineal royalties, and to beg enfranchisement immediate on his knees, which, on thy royal party granted once, his glittering arms he will commend to rust, his barbed steeds to stables, and his heart to faithful service of your majesty. This swears he, as he is a prince, is just, and as I am a gentleman, I credit him.
Northumberland say thus the king returns. His noble cousin is right welcome hither, and all the number of his fair demands shall be accomplished without contradiction. With all the gracious utterance thou hast, speak unto his gentle hearing kind commends.
We do debase ourselves, cousin, do we not? To look so poorly and to speak so fair. Shall we call back Northumberland and send defiance to the traitor and so die?
No, good my lord, let's fight with gentle words, till time lend friends, and friends their helpful swords.
Oh God, that ere this tongue of mine, that laid the sentence of dread banishment on yond proud man, should take it off again with words of sooth, or that I were as great as is my grief, or lesser than my name, or that I could forget what I have been, or not remember what I must be now. Swell'st thou, proud heart, I'll give thee scope to beat.
Since comes back from Bolingbroke.
What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? Oh, God's name, let it go! I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for an almsman's gown, my figured goblets for a dish of wood, my sceptre for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave. A little grave, an obscure grave. Or I'll be buried in the king's highway, some way of common trade where subjects' feet may hourly trample on their sovereign's head. For on my heart they tread now whilst I live, and buried once, why not upon my head? And thou weepst, my tender-hearted cousin. We'll make foul weather with despised tears. Our sighs and they shall lodge the summer corn and make a dearth in this revolting land. Or shall we play the wantons with our woes and make some pretty match with shedding tears? As thus, to drop them still upon the one place till they have fretted us a pair of graves within the earth. And therein laid, there lies two kinsmen, digged their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, I see. I talk but idly, and you mock at me. Most mighty prince, my lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says aye.
Oh, my lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down?
Down I come, like glistering phaeton, wanting the manage of unruly jades. In the base court, where kings grow base, to come at traitors' calls and do them grace. In the base court, come down. Down court, down king. For night owls shriek, where mounting larks should sing.
What says His Majesty?
Sorrow and grief of heart makes him speak fondly like a frantic man. Yet he's come.
Stand all apart and show fair duty to His Majesty. My gracious lord.
Fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing it. Me rather had my heart might feel your love, than my unpleased eye see your courtesy. Up, cousin. Up, your heart is up, I know. Thus high at least, although your knee be low.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours. And I am yours. And all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well, you deserve. They well deserve to have that know the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hands. Nay, dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin, I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have, I'll give, and willing too, for do we must what force will have us do. Set on, towards London, cousin. Is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
Shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thought of care?
Madam, we'll play at bowls.
Twill make me think the world is full of rubs and that my fortune runs against the bias.
Madam, we'll dance.
My legs can keep no measure in delight, while my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore, no dancing. Go. Some other sport.
Madam, we'll tell tales.
Of sorrow or of joy?
Of either, madam.
Of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow. Or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to my want of joy.
Madam, I'll sing.
'Tis well that thou hast cause, but thou shouldst please me better, wouldst thou weep.
I could weep, madam. Would it do you good?
And I could sing, would weeping do me good, and never borrow any tear of thee.
I'm not tardy, Fugget.
But stay, here come the gardeners. Let's step into the shadow of these trees. My wretchedness unto a row of pins. They'll talk of state, for everyone doth so against a change. Woe is forerun with woe.
Go, wind thou up yond dangling apricots, which, like unruly children, make their sires stoop with oppression of their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. And go then, and like an executioner, cut off the heads of two fast-growing sprays that look too lofty in our commonwealth. All must be even in our government.
Why should we, in the compass of a pale, keep law and form and due proportion, when our sea-walled garden, the whole land, is full of weeds? Her fairest flowers are choked up, her fruit trees all impruned, her hedges ruined, her knots disordered, and her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars.
Hold thy peace. He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with a fall of leaf. The weeds that his broad-spreading leaves did shelter, that seemed in eating him to hold him up, are pulled up, root and all, by Bolingbroke. I mean the Earl of Wiltshire, bushy green.
What, are they dead?
They are. And Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Oh, what pity is it that he had not so trimmed and dressed his land as we this garden. Superfluous branches we lop away,
that bear in bows may live. Had he done so, himself had borne the crown, which waste and idle hours hath quite thrown down.
What? Think you the king shall be deposed?
Depressed he is already. Deposed, 'tis doubted he will be.
I am pressed to death through want of speaking. Thou, old Adam's likeness, set to dress this garden, how dares thy harsh, rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What Eve, what serpent hath suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed man? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou, the little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say when, where, and how camest thou by these ill tidings? Speak, thou wretch!
Pardon me, man. Little joy have I to breathe these news, yet what I say is true. King Richard, he is in the mighty hold of Bolingbroke, and their fortunes both are weighed. In your lord's scale is nothing but himself and some few vanities that make him light. But in the balance of great Bolingbroke, besides himself, are all the English peers, and with that odds, he weighs King Richard down. Well, post you to London, you'll find it so. I speak no more than everyone doth know.
Nimble mischance, which art so light of foot, doth not thy embassage belong to me? And am I the last that knows it? Ladies, go to meet at London, London's king in woe. What? Was I born to this? That my sad look should grace the triumph of great Bolingbroke? Gardener, for telling me these news of woe, pray God the plants thou grafts may never grow!
Poor queen, so that thy state might be no worse, I would my skill were subject to thy curse. Here did she drop a tear. Now here in this place I'll set a bank of rue, sour herb of grace. Rue, e'en for Ruth, here shortly shall be seen, in the remembrance of a weeping queen.
Bagot. Now, Bagot, freely speak thy mind, what thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death.
Then, set before my face the Lord O'Merle.
Cousin, stand forth and look upon that man.
My Lord O'Merle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what it hath once delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, is not my arm of length that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais to my uncle's head, amongst much other talk that very time. I heard you say that you had rather refuse the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding withal, how blessed this land would be in this, your cousin's debt.
Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base man? Here is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou liest.
Bagot, forbear, thou shalt not take it up.
If that thy valour stand on sympathy, there is my gage, O'Merle, engaged to thine. I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it 20 times, thou liest.
If thou darest not, coward, live to see the day.
Now by my soul, I would it were this hour.
Willoughby, thou art damned to hell for this!
O'Merle, thou liest! His honour is as true in this appeal as thou art all unjust, and that thou art so. There I throw my gage, to prove it on thee. Seize it if thou darest!
And if I do not, may my hands rot off.
My Lord Willoughby, I do remember well the very time O'Merle and you did talk.
My lord, 'tis very true. You were in presence then, and can witness with me this is true.
As false, by heaven, as heaven itself is true.
Salisbury, thou liest.
Dishonourable boy! That lie shall lie so heavy on my sword that it shall render vengeance and revenge till thou, the lie giver, and that lie do lie in earth, as quiet as thy father's skull, in proof whereof there is mine honour's pawn. Engage it to the trial, if thou darest.
How fondly dost thou spur a forward horse. If I dare eat or drink, or breathe or live, I dare meet Salisbury in a wilderness, and spit upon him whilst I say he lies, and lies, and lies. Besides, I heard the banished Mowbray say that thou, O'Merle, didst send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais.
Some honest Christian trust me with a gage. That Mowbray lies, here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed to try his honour.
These differences shall all rest under gage, till Mowbray be repealed. Repealed he shall be, and though mine enemy, restored again to all his lands and sinews. When he's returned, against O'Merle we will enforce his trial.
That honourable day shall ne'er be seen. Many a time hath banished Mowbray fought for Jesu Christ in glorious Christian field, and toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose colours he had fought so long.
Why, Bishop, is Mowbray dead?
As sure as I live, my lord.
Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham.
My lord,
Lords appellants, your differences shall all rest under gage till we assign you to your days of trial.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high sceptre yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry, of that name the 4th.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
May God forbid! Worst in this royal presence may I speak, yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any in this noble presence were enough noble to be upright judge of noble Richard? Then true noblesse would lend him forbearance from so foul a wrong. What subject can give sentence on his king? And who kneels here that is not Richard's subject? And shall the figure of God's majesty, his captain, steward, deputy elect, anointed, crowned, planted many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath, and he himself not present? Oh, forbid it, God, that in a Christian climate souls refined should show so heinous, black, obscene a deed. My lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king, and if you crown him, let me prophesy, the blood of English shall manure the ground, and future ages groan for this foul act. Disorder, horror, fear, and mutiny shall here inhabit, and this land be called a field of Golgotha and dead men's skulls. Oh, if you rear this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it, resist it, let it not be so, lest child's children cry against you, woe,
Well have you argued, sir, and for your pains of capital treason, we do arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster, be it your charge to keep him safely till his day of trial.
Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender, so we shall proceed without suspicion.
I will be his conduct.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my knee. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favours of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, "All hail to me"? So Judas did to Christ. But he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000, none. God save the king! Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he. And yet amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for hither?
To do that office of thine own good will, which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin. Seize the crown. Here, cousin. On this side my hand, on that side thine. Now is this golden crown like a deep well, those two buckets filling one another. The emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those.
Part of your cares you give me with your crown.
Your cares set up, do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care by old care done. Your care is gain of care by new care won. The cares I give, I have, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
Aye, no. No. Aye. For I must nothing be. Therefore no. No, for I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy sceptre from my hand, the pride of kingly sway from out my heart. With mine own tears I wash away my balm. With mine own hands I give away my crown. With mine own tongue deny my sacred state. With mine own breath release all duteous oaths. All pomp and majesty I do forego. My manners, rents, revenues I forswear. My acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God, pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God, keep all vows unbroke are made to thee. Make me that nothing have, with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased that hast all achieved. Long mayst thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthy pit. God save King Henry, unkinged Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more, but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of men may deem that you are worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved-up follies? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offences were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article containing the deposing of a king, marked with a blot, damned in the book of Nay, all of you that stand and look on me, whilst that my wretchedness doth bait myself. Though some of you with Pilate wash your hands, showing an outward pity, yet you Pilates have here delivered me to my sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin.
My lord, dispatch, read o'er these articles.
Mine eyes are full of tears, I cannot see. And yet salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base, and sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant.
My lord.
No lord of thine, thou haut insulting man. No, nor no man's lord. I have no name, no title, no. Not that name was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery, king of snow, standing before the son of Bolingbroke to melt myself away in water drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go, some of you, and fetch a looking glass.
Read all this paper till the glass doth come!
Fiend, thou torments me ere I come to hell.
Urge it no more, my lord
The
Northumberland.
commons will not then be satisfied.
I shall be satisfied. I'll read enough when I do see the very book indeed where all my sins are written. That's myself. Yes. Give me that glass. Therein will I read. no deeper wrinkles yet. Hath sorrow struck so many blows upon this face of mine, and left no deeper wound? Flattering glass. Like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that like the sun did make beholders wink? Is this the face that faced so many follies, that was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in this face, as brittle as the glory is the face. For there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport. How soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again. The shadow of my sorrow, huh? Let's see. 'Tis very true. My grief lies all within, and these external manners of laments are merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance, and I thank the king for thy great bounty, that not only gives me cause to wail, but teachest me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon, and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin! Now I'm greater than a king. For when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
And shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I are from your sights.
Go, some of you, convey him to the tower.
Oh, good. Convey. Conveyors are you all, that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves.
A woeful pageant have we here beheld.
The woes to come, the children yet unborn, shall feel this day as sharp to them as thorn.
Holy clergyman, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot?
My lord, before I freely speak my mind herein, you shall not only take the sacrament to bury mine intent, but also to effect whatever I shall happen to devise. I see your brows are full of discontent, your heart of sorrow, and your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper. I'll lay a plot shall show us all a merry day.
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower. to whose flint's bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here, let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. But soft, but see, or rather do not see my fair rose wither. Yet, look up, behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew, and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Thou, map of honour, thou King Richard's tomb, and not King Richard.
Do it not with grief, fair woman, do not so, to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which awaked, the truth of what we are shows us but this: I am sworn brother sweet to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death, hie thee to France, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have stricken down.
What? Is my Richard both in shape and mind transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion, dying, thrusteth forth his paw, and wounds the earth, if nothing else, with rage to be o'erpowered. And would thou, pupil-like, take thy correction, mildly kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and the king of beasts?
A king of beasts, indeed. If aught but beasts, I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometime queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think I am dead, and that even here thou takes, as from my deathbed, thy last living leave. In winter's tedious nights, sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee tales of woeful ages, long ago betid, and ere thou bid good night, to quit their grief, tell thou the lamentable tale of me, and send their hearers weeping to their beds.
My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfret and not unto the Tower. And, madam, there is order attained for you. With all swift speed you must away to France.
Northumberland, thou ladder wherewith all the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age, more than it is, ere foul sin, gathering head, shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. He shall think that thou, which know'st the way to plant unrightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged another way, to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne.
My guilt be on my head, and there an end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
Part us, Northumberland. I towards the north, where shivering cold and sickness pines the clime. My queen to France, from whence, set forth in pomp she came, adorned hither like sweet May, sent back like Hallowmas, or shortest of day.
And must we be divided, must we part?
Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both and send the king with me.
Well, that was some love, but little policy.
Then whither he goes, thither let me go.
So two together weeping make one woe. Go, count thy ways with sighs, I mine with groans.
So longest way shall have the longest moans.
One kiss shall stop our mouths and dumbly part. Thus give I mine, and thus take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'Twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So, now I have mine own again, begone, that I may strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more adieu. The rest let sorrow say.
lord? You told me you would tell the rest when weeping made you break the story off of our two cousins coming into London.
Where did I leave?
At that sad stop, my lord, where rude, misgoverned hands from windows' tops threw dust and rubbish on King Richard's head.
Then, as I said, the Duke, great Bolingbroke, mounted upon a hot and fiery steed, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, while all tongues cried, God save thee, Bolingbroke! You would have thought the very windows spake, so many greedy looks of young and old through casements darted their desiring eyes, whilst he from one side to the other turning, bareheaded, lower than his proud steed's neck, bespake them thus, I thank you, countrymen, and thus still doing, thus he passed along.
Alas, poor Richard. Where rides he the whilst?
As in a theatre, the eyes of men, after a well-graced actor leaves the stage, are idly bent on him that enters next, thinking his prattle to be tedious. Even so, or with much more contempt, men's eyes did scowl on Richard. No man cried, God save him, but dust was thrown upon his sacred head, which with such gentle sorrow he shook off, his face still combating with tears and smiles, that had not God for some strong purpose steeled the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted, and barbarism itself have pitied him. But heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high will we bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honour eye for eye allow.
Here comes my son O'Merle.
O'Merle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend. And, madam, you must call him Rutland now.
Welcome, my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring?
Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I had as lief be none as one.
Well, bear you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come to prime. What news from Oxford? Do those jousts and triumphs hold?
For aught I know, my lord, they do.
You will be there, I know.
If God prevent not, I purpose so.
What seal is that hangs without thy bosom? Yea, looks thou pale. Let me see the writing.
My lord says nothing.
Oh, no matter then who sees it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the writing.
I do beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen.
Which for some reason, sir, I mean to see. I fear.
What should you fear? 'Tis nothing but some bond that he has entered into for gay apparel against the triumph.
Bound to himself? What doth he with a bond that he is bound to? Wife, thou art a fool. Boy, let me see the writing.
I do beseech your grace to pardon me. I may not show it.
Will be satisfied. Let me see it, I say. Treason! Foul treason! Villain! Traitor! Slave!
What's the matter, my lord?
Oh, who is it in there? Saddle my horse. God, for his mercy, what treachery is here.
Why, what is't, my lord?
Give me my boots, I say. Saddle my horse now, by my honour, my life, my troth. I will impeach the villain.
What is the matter?
Peace, foolish woman.
I will not peace. What is the matter,
Oh, good mother, be content. It is no more than my poor life must answer.
Thy life answer.
Bring me my boots. I will unto the king.
Oh, strike him, O'Merle. Oh, poor boy, thou art amazed. Hence, villain. Never more come in my sight.
No. Give me my boots, I say.
Why, York, what wilt thou do? Wilt thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, or are we like to have? And wilt thou pluck my fair son from mine age?
Thou fond mad woman, wilt thou conceal this dark conspiracy? A dozen of them here attend the sacrament and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the king at Oxford.
He shall be none. We'll keep him here, then what is that to him?
Away, fond woman, were he 20 times my son, I would impeach him.
Hadst thou groaned for him as I have done, thou wouldst be more pitiful. Ah, but now I know thy mind. Thou dost suspect that I have been disloyal to thy bed, and that he is a bastard, not thy son!
Make way, unruly woman.
After O'Merle, mount thee upon his horse, spur post, and get before him to the king, and beg thy pardon ere he do accuse thee. I'll not be long behind. Though I be old, I doubt not but to ride as fast as York. And never will I rise up from the ground till Bolingbroke hath pardoned thee. Away! Be gone!
Can no man tell of my unthrifty son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. If any plague hang over us, 'tis he. I would to God, my lords, he might be found. Inquire at London, mongst the taverns there. For there they say he daily doth frequent with unrestrained loose companions.
My lord, some 2 days since I saw the prince and told him of these triumphs held at Oxford.
And what said the gallant?
His answer was he would unto the stews, and from the commonest creature pluck a glove and wear it as a favour, and with that he would unhorse the lustiest challenger.
Dissolute as desperate.
Where is the king?
What means our cousin that he stares and looks so wild?
God save your grace. I do beseech your majesty to have some conference with your grace alone.
Withdraw yourselves and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now?
Forever may my knees grow to the earth, unless a pardon ere I rise or speak.
Intended or committed was this fault? If on the first, how heinous ere it be, to win thy after love, I pardon thee.
Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no man may enter till my tale be done.
Have thy desire.
My liege, beware! Look to thyself! Thou hast a traitor in thy presence!
Villain, I'll make thee safe!
Stay thy revengeful hand, thou hast no cause to fear.
Open the door, secure foolhardy king! Open the door, or I will break it open!
What is the matter, uncle? Speak! Recover breath. Tell us how near is danger.
Peruse this writing here, and thou shalt know the reason that my haste forbids me show.
Remember as thou readst thy promise past. I do repent me, read not my name there. My heart is not confederate with my hand.
It was, villain, ere thy hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom, king. Fear and not love begets his penitence.
Oh, heinous, strong and bold conspiracy! Oh, loyal father of a treacherous son! Thy overflow of good converts to bad, and thy abundant goodness shall excuse this deadly blot in thy digressing son.
So shall my virtue be his vice's board. Thou kill'st me in his life. Giving him breath, the traitor lives, the true man's put to death.
What have my liege? For God's sake, let me in!
What shrill voice suppliant makes this eager cry?
A woman! And thine aunt!
Ow!
Speak with me, pity me. Open the door! A beggar begs that never begged before.
Our scene is altered from a serious thing and now changed to the beggar and the king. My dangerous cousin, let your mother in. I know she's come to pray for your foul sin.
If thou do pardon, whosoever pray, more sins for this forgiveness prosper may.
O king, believe not this hard-hearted man. Loving not itself, none other can.
Thou frantic woman, what dost thou make here? Shall I old Dugs once more a traitor rear?
Be patient.
Ow!
Hear me, gentle liege.
Rise up, good heart.
Not yet, I thee beseech. Forever will I kneel upon my knees, and never see day that the happy sees, till thou give joy, until thou bid me joy, by pardoning Rutland, my transgressing boy.
Unto my mother's prayers I add my knee.
Against them both my true joys bended be.
Please see an earnest look upon his face. He prays but faintly and would be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all beside. His weary joints would gladly rise, I know. Our knees shall kneel till to the ground they grow. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of true zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers do outpray his. Then let them have that mercy which true prayers ought to have.
Good aunt, stand up.
No, do not say stand up, but pardon first and afterwards stand up. I never longed to hear a word till now. Say pardon, King, let pity teach thee how.
Speak it in French, King. Say pardonnez-moi.
Dost thou teach pardon, pardon to destroy? Speak pardon as is current in our land. This chopping French we do not understand.
Good aunt, stand up.
I do not sue to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand.
I pardon him, as God shall pardon me.
Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee. Yet I am sick with fear. Speak it again. Twice saying pardon doth not pardon twain, but make one pardon strong.
I pardon him with all my heart.
A god on earth thou art.
Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford or where'er these traitors are. They shall not live within this world, I swear, but I will have them if I once know where. Uncle, farewell. And cousin, adieu. Your mother well hath prayed, and prove you true.
Come, my old son. I pray God make thee new.
I have been studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it, yet I'll hammer it out. My brain I'll prove the female to my soul the father, and these two beget a generation of still-breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world, in humours like the people of this world, for no thought is contented. Thus play I in one person many people. Sometimes am I king. Then treason makes me wish myself a beggar, and so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then am I kinged again, and by think that I am unkinged by Bolingbroke. And straight am nothing, but whate'er I am, nor I, nor any man, but that man is, with nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music do I hear. Keep time. How sour sweet music is when time is broken, no proportion kept. So is it in the music of men's lives. And here hath I the daintiness of ear to hear time broken a disordered string. But in the concord of my state and time, I had not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. This music mads me, let it sound no more! And yet blessings on his heart that gives it me, for 'tis a sign of love. And love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Hail, royal prince!
Thanks, noble peer. The cheapest of us is 10 groats too dear. What art thou? And how comest thou hither, where no man ever comes, but that sad dog that brings me food to make misfortune live?
I was a poor groom of thy stable, king, when thou wert king, who travelling towards York, with much ado, at length, have gotten leave to look upon my sometimes royal master's face. Oh, how it yearned my heart when I beheld in London's streets that coronation day, when Bolingbroke rode on Rowan Barbary. That horse that thou so often had bestrid, that horse that I so carefully have dressed.
Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went he under him?
So proudly as if he disdained the ground.
So proud that Bolingbroke was on his back. That jade hath eat bread from my royal hand. That hand hath made him proud with clapping him. Would he not stumble? Would he not fall down, since pride must have a fall, and break the neck of that proud man that did usurp his back? Forgiveness, horse, why do I rail on thee? Since thou, created to be awed by man, wast born to bear. I was not made a horse, and yet I bear a burden like an ass. Spur-galled and tired by jauncing Bolingbroke.
Fellow, give place. It is no longer stay.
Thou love me, 'tis time thou wert away.
What my tongue dares not, that my heart shall say.
My lord, will it please you to fall to?
Taste of it first, as thou wert wont to do.
My lord, I dare not. There lately came one from king, commands the contrary.
The devil take Henry Bolingbroke and thee! Patience is stale, and I am weary of it! Help! Help! How now? What means death in this rude assault? Villain, thine own hand yields thy death's instrument! Go thou and fill another room in hell! That hand shall burn in never-quenching fire that staggers thus my passing! Thy fierce hand hath with the king's blood stained the king's own land. Mount, mount, my soul, thy seat is up on high, whilst my gross flesh sinks downward here to die. As full of valour as of royal blood, both have I spilled.
Would the deed were good, for now the devil that told me I did well says that this deed is chronicled in hell!
York, the latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Cissitor in Gloucestershire. But whether they be ta'en or slain, we hear not. Welcome, my lords. What is the news?
First, to thy sacred state wish I all happiness. The next news is, I have to London sent the heads of Salisbury, Spencer, Blunt, and Kent. The manner of their taking may at large appear discoursed in this paper here.
We thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and to thy worth will add right worthy gains.
My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the heads of Brockus and Sir Bennet Seeley.
Thy pains, my good lord, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit, well I wot.
The grand conspirator, Abbot of Westminster, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle, living to abide thy kingly doom and sentence of his pride.
Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room, more than thou hast, and with it joy thy life. So as thou liv'st in peace, die free from strife. For though mine enemy thou hast ever been, high sparks of honour in thee have I seen.
Great King!
Within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein all breathless lies the greatest of thy mighty enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slaughter with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
From your own mouth, my lords, did I this deed.
They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee, though I did wish him dead. I hate the murderer, love him murdered. The guilt of conscience take thou for thy labour, but neither my good word nor princely favour. With Cain go wander thorough shades of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lords, I protest my soul is full of woe, that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood from off my guilty hand.